Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports, where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Grant. We got some exciting new announcements to announce.
Yeah, you're right about that. We have a really big announcement. As you can see at the top right, we have a new logo up there, and we're kind of going to be going through a little bit of a rebranding. And when I say that, I don't mean like a bunch of stuff is going to change. We're just going to
Mm-mm.
try to produce more content for you guys, reach more audiences and stuff like that. So I'll start by saying this. We are still doing our main show, and that's going to
Mm-hmm.
still be every Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. We've done that weekly for over a year now, so it's going to stay the same. We're still doing our main show, and it's still going to be scheduled for that Wednesday, every Wednesday. And the new rebranding that we have in mind, we're going to be doing 3 new branches of this podcast. Is still all going to be on this channel. It's just going to be under different labels and different playlists. I'll talk about my 2 first, and then I'll let you go ahead and talk about your
Mm-hmm.
branch that you're doing. So the first 2 branches that I am going to be doing is a Cubs sports report. So this is going to be on Cubs news. This can just be any videos throughout the week where I feel like talking about the Cubs. They just play a good series and I want to talk about that. They play a bad series. I want to talk about that. If any news happens, breaking news, injuries, stuff like that, kind of just updates on the Cubs and whatnot. And the other one is going to be a Miami sports report. And this is going to be both the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Heat. So these will be
Mm-hmm.
videos on Miami sports, specifically football and basketball. And just because it's called Miami Sports Report, not every episode is going to be talking about both the Dolphins and the Heat. It could be a video about the Heat only. It can be a video about the Dolphins only. But there's going to be some sort of Miami sports news in those videos from that branch. Like I said, these are not as scheduled videos as our main show is. These can be anywhere from 1 video a week to 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how the news is
Mm-hmm.
for that week. It really just depends on what's going on and how much there is to talk about. But me and Mason are both huge fans of certain teams and certain fan bases. So we thought it would be a good idea to start, doing extra content, putting more videos out there. Some of these videos are going to be shorter. I know some people prefer shorter content than our, longer 40-minute, 30-minute videos. So this could be a way to do that. And another goal is to reach, obviously, these audiences of these fan bases for these teams that we're going to be covering now. So we're looking forward to it. We're very excited. I know we've both been talking about this for a while now about how
Yep.
we want to start doing more and how we can start implementing more. So I'm going to start doing a Cubs sports report and a Miami sports report. There's going to be new logos for that, new backgrounds, all sort of fun things that me and Mason have been
Oh
making
yeah.
over the last week or so. And then the final branch, I'm going to let Mason go ahead and talk about it because that's his baby, so to speak. That's what he's going to be in charge of. And we're even going to have a new member sort of to GM Sports Report for this final branch. So Mason, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. And just we really wanted to just start this because we have so much knowledge on things that we're not talking about as much, I think. And we both really love our teams and like we don't want to come off as biased and stuff on like our main channel because there's been times where we just want to just yap, and like we just love our teams that much. But so yeah, my channel or mine and my cousin Cole, he is a big New York sports fan as well. We are going to be making a New York sports report. We're just going to be talking about pretty much our favorite teams. So he's a Jets fan and I'm a Giants fan. So we're going to be talking about that, like those teams, and then we are both Yankees and Knicks fans. So we're going to be talking a lot about those teams whenever those kind of have something to talk about. But yeah, like Grant said, it's not going to be as scheduled. I'm not. It really just depends on Cole's schedule and to make it work for him because I don't want to just like overflow all this stuff that all these ideas and things because he's never done this. I literally just reached out the other day to see if he'd even be interested in doing something like this, and he said yeah, sure. He was a little hesitant, saying he didn't want to like leave me high and dry one day if um he wants to do it. It's just a scheduling and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very exciting. I can't wait. I think this is probably our best idea yet on GM Sports. It's just a way to reach out to all these different audiences because not everyone's gonna be interested in everything we talk about, but this is where they get kind of pick and choose what they want to listen to, whether it's like a Heat, podcast or like a Knicks or a Yankees thing. So like we're just able to talk about a lot more of what we know. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, very, very excited. And I can vouch for Cole. That dude knows a ton of ball. He's going to be a great addition to this show. I'm excited to see what he
Hmm.
does with this. And then, um, I'm also going to plan on having some special guests here and there for
Yeah.
my
Yep.
branches, but for the most part, it'll probably be a lot of solo stuff. But
Hmm.
that's okay. Maybe one day we'll find a permanent partner for me. But we
Yeah.
just
Yep.
both really want to start doing more content for you guys and really start growing this page
Hmm.
because, like I said, we've been doing this for a year now, and we're really ready to start making these next steps and elevate this podcast. So we're both looking forward to it. And like I said, all these different branches, they're not a set in stone schedule of videos. It's not like every Monday
Hmm.
there's going to be this, every Tuesday there's going to be that. So just
Yeah.
please make
No.
sure you guys turn on the notifications to our channel. So whenever there is a video uploaded, you guys will see that. And if you want to watch it, you can go watch it. If you don't want to watch it, then that's okay. But just please have those notifications on so you can see when things are posted, and also follow our Instagram and TikTok accounts at GM Sports Report because we will be posting whenever we upload on those accounts as well. So, yeah, very exciting news. And I think we're planning on starting this as soon as this next week coming up here. So,
Yeah. September
it's going to
1st
be
is when
exciting.
I know Cole really wants to, I guess get started. Um, but yeah. And another thing I'd really like to add, I want you guys to know how like serious we've been taking this. There's been times where we'll be driving back from like a game, whether it's Tampa or Miami or something. It'll be 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, and we're just coming up with ideas of how we can like make GM Sports Report better. And it's just it's been great, and I can't wait for what's to come. I feel like this is just the beginning.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. And yeah, we just wanted to update you guys on that because it is a pretty big thing. It's going to be kind of a rebranding phase for us, and we're looking forward to it. And we hope you guys
Yep.
enjoy it as well. And like I said, still going to be doing our weekly show on everything that's going on in sports every Wednesday. So it's not like that's going
Yep.
anywhere. So if anything, this is just additional content for everyone. Anyone who wants to see more of us, which we are very grateful for, if there is anyone that wants to see more of us.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's pretty much all we have to say for now. But just keep an eye out. Some of these videos might be starting as soon as next week, so just be on the lookout for that.
Yep.
All right, now that we cleared that up and talked about all of that, let's head back to the regular scheduled programming, and we're gonna start this episode like how we start every episode, and that is with our hot take. So Mason, what is your hot take for this week?
I hate to have to be this guy, but this is not much of a hot take at all. The Yankees look just 10 times better with Anthony Volpe out of the lineup. I don't know what kind of blackmail Volpe has on Boone, or where he just keeps finding his way in. But Caballero looked amazing, and he made plays when he needed to make plays. Um, yeah, it's been a lot better. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree with that. Caballero is a great defender and a great base runner,
Mm-hmm.
and he's young. He's can improve as years go on. When they made that trade for him, I thought they should instantly start him at shortstop because of how good his
Absolutely.
defense is. I get Volpe maybe has a slight edge on the offensive end, but I mean when you're
Yeah.
leading the league in errors and it's not looking like you're turning that around anytime soon, I think you have to make a change. And like you said, from what we've seen so far, it has been very successful with Caballero over there. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how Boone continues to manage that. If he, maybe leans into that a little bit more, or if he, goes back to his gun and Volpe. We know he loves Volpe. He said that he was like the best shortstop in the league beginning this season. So we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
All right. My hot take of the week is also not too hot of a take, which is okay because I feel like the last 2 weeks
Yeah.
our hot takes have been very hot So maybe it's okay that
Yes.
we take a step back
You're
and have a more
welcome.
mild hot take this week. And mine is I just really wanted to put some credit on some of the rookies in the AL for MLB this year. We're seeing some of the best rookie campaigns maybe ever between Junior Caminero and Nick
Mhm.
Kurtz. Junior Caminero is up to 39 home runs right now and 94 RBIs as a
Jeez.
rookie. It is absurd what we're seeing from him. I get they're playing at, Steinbrenner, which is a very hitter friendly park, but if you watch this man's home runs, they're home runs almost any ballpark. So it's not like he's
Yeah.
hitting any cheapies. He's hitting the crap out of the ball. And I personally cannot wait to see what his career looks like because I really think they found one. Like I think they found a superstar with him. He's fantastic. And obviously, any other year, Junior would probably win Rookie of the Year, but because of this guy being in the league, he's probably not. And that is Nick Kurtz on the Athletics. This dude is
Yep.
just absurd. 27 home runs, a 1.038 OPS, which is just absurd as a 23-year-old rookie. And then obviously we know the 27 home runs. Huge frame, can play good, solid first base. This dude is just an absolute stud. This Athletics team is just full of like youth talent. And Nick is putting up one of the craziest rookie seasons we've seen in a long time. And so is Caminero as well. So I just wanted to kind of point that out with my hot take by saying they're having some of the best rookie seasons we've pretty much ever seen, definitely in a long time. So yeah, that's my
Yeah,
hot take of the week.
absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and slide over to our underdog of the week. So Mason, who is your underdog for this week?
Yeah, so I kind of had a tough time picking this one, but his last outing, I think, was definitely not great. So he kind of redeemed himself in some sort of way, and that's Dylan Gabriel with the Cleveland Browns. And he went 12 for 19, 129 yards and a touchdown. So, whenever you do that and you kind of prove yourself and why you should have been drafted, I think that's, great. And, his name's always going to be tied with Shador, which I think sucks because he's always going to be living in that media shadow, as you will. And it's just, I think it's great that he put up this solid performance and hopefully, he's able to do a lot more.
Yeah, I like it. For my underdog of the week, I'm kind of surprised this guy isn't talked about as much because he was a huge name in college. Like he was a very popular player in college last season. So I've been kind of shocked when I haven't seen his
Yeah.
name as much because he's had a great preseason. And that is Ollie Gordon for the Miami Dolphins, the rookie running
Yeah.
back. He led rookie running backs in yards this preseason. He had 26 carries for 126 yards. Here's the crazy stat: 101 of those yards came after contact, and he had eight rushes for a first down, one rushing touchdown, and 3 receptions for 48 yards. He looks really solid, and
Hmm.
the Dolphins do have some good wide or running back depth, so I don't expect him to break away right away. But if Achane goes down or Jalen Wright goes down, I could really see Ollie Gordon being ready to step up and have a big rookie year because he's looked very solid in preseason from what I've seen so far. And like I
Yep.
said, led all rookie running backs in yards this preseason. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I was excited for him whenever, last year, I think he was at Oklahoma State. And
hmm
I thought we were going to see a lot more from him. But it's exciting, and I think Miami will definitely be able to use him a lot more.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the MLB, and we're going to do kind of what we do every week, which for our MLB stuff, and that is give our player of the week and team of the week. So, Mason, I'll let you go ahead and start. Who's your player of the week for MLB?
My player of the week is Vinny Pasquantino. He has homered in the last 6 of the last 7 games, and including 5 straight from Monday to Friday, tying the Royals franchise record, which is insane. And he also had an extra base hit in all 7 games during the past week. So just huge shout out to him. AL player of the week. So just absolutely balling.
Yeah, when Vinny gets hot, he's a fantastic hitter. He's always like right on that brink of becoming an all-star in my eyes. He just isn't quite there yet. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. When he's on fire, he's one of the best hitters in the league. Like we've seen with this 7-game stretch that you were talking about. So I really like that
Mm-hmm.
pick. I think he's one of the most underrated players on that Royals team. So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
My player of the week, I know I'm not supposed to go with two, but I went with two because I feel like there's two guys that deserve to be talked about here. Um, the first one is Cal Rayleigh. This dude reached 50 home runs last night. It's the first catcher to ever reach 50 home runs, and only the second player in Mariners franchise history to reach 50 home runs. And that other player that had 50 home runs was Ken Griffey Jr. So pretty good company for Cal Rayleigh to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
We're just seeing an absurd season from him. I don't know if it'll be enough to win the AL MVP. But man,
Nope.
if he doesn't, it'll
I'm
be
kidding.
probably the best runner-up season we've ever seen because this dude is just
Absolutely.
absurd. As a catcher to have 50 home runs, that is just something we've never seen before. A switch hitting catcher with 50 home runs who plays fantastic defense behind the plate, might I add. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just crazy to see, and he deserves all the flowers because man, he is going crazy right now. I'll be interested to see if he makes that push for 60 home runs. My second
We'll
player
see.
my second player that I want to talk about is someone who's really turned it on since All-Star break, and that's the Cubs rookie pitcher Cade Horton. He's put up some crazy numbers since All-Star break. Those stats being, he has 37 innings pitched with a 5-1 record, and here's the crazy stat: he has a 0.49 ERA. He has only given up 2 runs since the All-Star break, and he has had 34 strikeouts with a 24.8% K percentage and an 8% walk percentage. So very efficient. He's on a pitch limit right now, might I add, too, because they want to make
Wow.
sure he's saved for playoffs. So he's on a pitch limit right now. He's only getting like 70, 75 pitches a game, and he's putting up these absolutely absurd numbers. And as a Cubs fan, we haven't seen a pitcher like dominate like this since Jake Arrieta when he was in his prime, and it's just crazy to see. And it's not really being talked about a lot, but that's okay. It's just crazy some of these numbers, like a .49 ERA and 5-1 record and 37 innings pitched, and only giving up 2 runs. That's
Yeah.
just absurd. And
That's
he
insane.
has significantly jumped to being the favorite for NL Rookie of the Year over the last week. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes moving forward. He's lowered his regular season ERA to a 2.88. So really
Mm,
good ERA as a rookie, and looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. So those are my 2 players of the weeks.
nice.
All right. Now we'll go ahead and give our team of the week. So Mason, who's your team for this week?
Mine is the Detroit Tigers, 7-3 in the last 10, first in the AL by a mile. The second in the central or AL Central, sorry. Um, they are, was it 11 games over the Royals, which I think it's safe to say that they have Central on lock. And yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be very exciting to see if they come in hot during the playoffs. So yeah, huge shout out to the Royal or the Tigers.
Yeah, they've just been great all season. They haven't really had they had like one little stretch I remember where they lost like 9 out of 10 or whatever, but other than that they've been a fantastic team. Um from my team of the week, I picked a team that I know isn't going to make any playoff noise. I know that they're not going to, be a contender anytime soon, but what they are doing is just so exciting. I've talked about this group of young guys for so long now. I feel like I've talked about them like 10 times throughout the course of this season. And that is the Oakland Athletics, or sorry, not Oakland anymore,
Yeah.
just the Athletics. Um,
Whoa.
Sorry, I know that's a sensitive subject for athletics fans, so I didn't mean to hurt anyone there. I picked the Athletics for my team of the week, who are also 7-3 in their last 10. And I don't know if you caught any of that game last night. They went against the Tigers, and they went against
Oh
Tariq
wow.
Skubal, and Shea
Oh yeah, you saw
Langoliers
that.
hit a grand slam off of him, which is another one of those guys that are just so fun to watch on that Athletics team. They really have some good pieces here with Shea Langoliers, Wilson, the shortstop, who's been a rookie sensation, made an all-star game. You got Nick Kurtz over there at first base, who's exciting to watch. And then when you traded Mason Miller away, you only got the number 2 prospect in baseball that's going to be coming up in the next year or so. So that's another name to watch out for. So I really like what the Athletics are doing with their organization right now. I know they're not going to be contenders anytime soon, but man, they have some fun pieces on that team to watch. And that was a great moment last night seeing Shea Langoliers hit a grand slam off Tariq Skubal. I mean, we
Mhm.
never really see Tariq Skubal make any mistakes, so that was crazy to see.
No. Yep.
All right. So now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the NFL. We are going to give our final three thoughts of preseason, but first we're going to do some contract talk because two of the names that were kind of in contract rumors have signed now. Starting with Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals, a huge piece that they needed, in my opinion. So good for them to get that deal resolved so he can return with the team and start, getting ready for this season. And the other big one being
Mhm.
Terry McLaurin, who was, the best receiver on that Washington team and a huge part of their success last season. He signed a 3-year, I think it was $96 million deal with the Commanders. So
Yeah, I
pretty
think
big
so.
payday for him. Mason, what are your thoughts on these two contracts that got signed?
Trade needed to that contract needed to be done a while ago. That should have been the first priority of this Bengals management to get this done. I don't know how many times I've had to grill this Bengals management of just how horribly they've, you know, been with negotiations and contracts and stuff. So, um as a player, I'm sure it's very frustrating to not be getting those pieces that you need to win because we all saw Joe Burrow was putting up MVP caliber season last year. They started off horrible, still finished 9-8 somehow. If you don't have Joe Burrow, you're a 16
You're,
team.
yeah,
So it's ridiculous. You can have guys like Jamar Chase and T Higgins, but if no one's going to throw him the ball and you don't have O line to protect the guy to throw him the ball and a defense to protect the other offense from scoring, you're not going to win. And it's so far they've only had like one of three of those things. So we'll see what happens. Their offense looks absolutely atrocious, or their offensive line, sorry. And yeah, that'll all be put on that. And then Terry McLaurin, I think this is also something that really needed to be done earlier. I'm glad it got done because other than him, there's not really too much receivers, I think, that can carry the load like he does. Debo used to be able to be that guy on the
not
49ers, but even
anymore.
still, he had Ayuk. Um, I, Debo is more of a running back now, in my opinion. They put him on sweeps, put him in the backfield, so he's still good there. He's valuable, somewhat. I think he's a great flex guy. I'll put it at that. And then another thing that we really didn't talk about was Brian Robinson going to the 49ers, which I think is
Oh,
another
yes.
big acquisition for the Niners. You have McCaffrey and then you have Robinson. And I think those are two great running backs to where if McCaffrey isn't healthy for the whole season, then you have a guy who you can rely on because the backups last year for the Niners were doing amazing, but they're dropping like flies with injuries. So to have a
Mhm.
good solid running back too, I think that should make you feel really good as a Niners fan.
Yeah, yeah, definitely some good insurance to have with all the health issues that McCaffrey's had. Um,
Hmm.
I like both the signings. I think both those players needed to go back to their teams. My only question is, I know I've seen a lot of questioning on this. Do you think that Terry McLaurin got a little bit of an overpay, or do you think it was fair what he got? I
No,
saw
I
he's
think it
making
was
around the
fair.
same money as AJ Brown, so a lot of people are
No,
talking about it.
definitely fair because, like I said, he's one of the most valuable players on the offense. Other than Jane Daniels, it's him because they don't have that set in stone running back one anymore with Brian Robinson. So, um, for him to be, he's been the staple of that offense before Jane Daniels. He was playing with Taylor Heineke, and he was making
Yeah,
him look like a decent quarterback for a couple weeks. So I don't think it's too much of an overpay. I think it's great for them to sign him, but I could see where fans maybe say that. But yeah, he's more valuable to his team than I think AJ Brown is to the Eagles. That's just an
I
honest
agree with that.
opinion.
Yeah. I agree. I also don't think it was an overpay. It's clear as day that that's Jaden Daniels' favorite weapon is Terry McLaurin. And, with him coming off a sensational rookie season, you want to get that guy that he had so much success with back on that team and locked up. So I don't think that it was an overpay. I would have paid 115 million for a guy like him to be with that
Yeah,
roster. So um, I also agree. I don't think it's an overpay. That's the only critique I've seen by fans is some saying that's an overpay. I just don't get it personally.
no.
All right. Now we'll go ahead and get into our final 3 takeaways of preseason, because next week, obviously, we're going to be doing our NFL season preview. So, what are your final 3 takeaways for this preseason?
So mine is gonna be more of like the NFL, what's going around, like acquisitions and like movement and
Okay.
stuff as a whole. So I have three that are straight off like off my head, and I think the first one being Amari Cooper to the Raiders. I think that's a good veteran presence to have in that offensive room. You and then you get Kenny Pickett to go over there with him as well. He's not been the greatest quarterback, but he is a guy who is better and is able to get the ball to Brock Bowers a lot better than I can't even remember last dude's name. It was like O'Connell or something. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't great, so I think Pickett will be able to help out there. And then Ashton Genty, I don't think he'll be able to have too much success this year just because of that weak O line. So that's kind of my first takeaway is that the Raiders' offense is looking decent, but that's decent at best, and then their defense is atrocious. So that's my first takeaway, and then my second takeaway is going to be, sadly Tommy DeVito got cut today, but it's going to happen. You get 4 quarterbacks in a room. I'd much rather keep Jameis Winston over Tommy DeVito any day of the week. It's just a locker room guy. We might not see him on the field, but Jameis Winston is a guy who brings the team together, and we've seen it so far in this preseason. It's probably been the most excited I've watched, Giants football since 2022 playoffs. So, yeah, that's my second, and then my third, I think I don't really have like a set in stone third one. It's just going to be very interesting to see some of these cuts because every single team has to cut from a 75 to a 53 all by 4 o'clock today, Tuesday, as we're recording. So I think that there's going to be a lot of shocks, like a lot of shocking moves. So it'll be just be very interesting to see. And if you're really into the kind of, seeing what your roster is going to look like as far as a fan, today's the day, or it would be yesterday when you're watching this to kind of see what goes on.
Yeah, I like all 3 of those takeaways. I think it was good that you kind of touched up on all the latest news going around. My 3 takeaways are more on the week 3 of preseason, so I think it's good
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
that balance going.
Mm-hmm.
First takeaway was the Chiefs starters looked really good after some early miscues. They had 3 drives and they had 17 points in throughout those 3 drives, so they looked really solid. I know we saw all the Mahomes magic posts by Bleacher Report. Um, so yeah, that's my first takeaway. My second takeaway is something that kind of interests me, and that was Riley Leonard looked really solid for the Colts. He went
Mm-hmm.
15 for 20 with 189 yards and a touchdown. With how shaky that QB room is, it'll be very interesting to
Oh
see
yeah.
if Riley Leonard gets any chances in this season. He was a sensation in college, so who knows what can happen in the NFL, but he looked really solid this last week in preseason. So we'll see what goes on with him and that Colts quarterback room as we move forward. My third takeaway is about your boy, Tommy DeVito. Like you said, he was released yesterday, and but man, he went out on a bang, 17 for 20 with 198 yards and 3 touchdowns. A great performance to go out
See ya.
on. But yes, he did get cut just a few days after that performance. So, I know Tommy DeVito was like a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel for
Little
Giants fans
insanity
back
thing.
the last couple
Yeah.
seasons. So I know it's probably a little emotional for you guys, but like you said, I don't think you can keep him when you got like Jameis, Westbrook, and Jackson Dart. So it's understandable. But yeah, those are my
Winston.
three
Yeah.
takeaways.
Yeah. Just I'm kind of happy, like, but not too happy or sad about it because he, at the end of the day, if you want to look into it this deep, he cost us from getting Jaden Daniels with that win against Green Bay in 23. So, yeah, it's Dart's
But
turn
then you
now.
wouldn't have got
Dart,
neighbors.
right, but we had this debate was it last year?
I know,
So where
I
I'd
know.
much rather have Daniels, but it's Darty time. So
There you go. And you'll be talking about that on New York Sports Report this upcoming
yep.
week.
All
So
right.
be on the look for that because we're not going to get into that here.
Okay.
um All right. Finally, for this last segment of this episode, we're going to be doing a top 5 segment. As we know, NFL season is right around the corner. Next week, we're going to be doing our annual
Wow.
NFL season preview. That was our first ever episode last
Yeah.
year. So really looking
Gonna make me
forward to that.
emotional. Yeah.
And to kind of get into that spirit, what we're going to do is our top 5 way too early NFL power rankings. Obviously, we know that this is not probably going to be the top 5 by the end of the season because we know how football season goes. But Mason, what is your 5-1 power rankings right now that are way too early?
All right, 5 can be interchangeable, and I don't care what anyone says. I cannot stand this team, and I will not continue with the glaze. I don't care they made the Super Bowl last year. But I think 5 could either be Washington or the Chiefs. I wrote Chiefs just because I feel like they do need to be written in the top 5. But if they were not to be 5, they would be 6, and that would be interchange with Washington. 4 is going to be Detroit Lions. They had a very misfortunate or unfortunate end of the season last year against Washington, but I still think they'll be in the top 5. And then 3-1, I don't think that there's going to be much debate at all. 3 is going to be the Ravens, and then 2 is going to be the Bills, and 1 is going to be Philly. So yeah.
Wait, I couldn't hear you. Who was your number 1 again?
The one in Pennsylvania, not the Steelers.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
My list is gonna ruffle a few feathers. I do not have the
Oh,
Detroit Lions in my top 5 power rankings.
that's interesting.
I slid the Commanders in at number 5 just because the
I'm
Commanders
not
did
mad at
beat
that.
the Commanders. They
Yep.
beat them. They beat them. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I think
Fair
that
and
they
square.
deserve going into the season to have a higher, spot on the power rankings. Obviously, I know that it
Mm-hmm.
was probably going to change, but at least for now, going into the season, they came off of beating them in the playoffs. So I'm going with the Commanders at number
Yeah.
5. My
Not
number
mad at
4
it.
team is the Chiefs. I also,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, not the biggest fan of them, but they're really good, and we're probably going to see them make another deep run this season. So I had to put them at my number 4 spot. Number 3, Buffalo. Okay, number 2, we're gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens are really talented. Obviously, last season I feel like they ended up having a little bit of a letdown, but I think they'll
Yep.
bounce back. And then number 1, I'm going with probably the best powerhouse in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles. I
Oh,
mean,
I
you
wish
look
I
at
could
that
take these
team,
out.
and
I wish.
they're just so talented. Saquon Barkley, Jalen
Can't even
Hurts,
look at
AJ
you.
Brown,
I can't
Devontae
look at
Smith.
you.
They're just so
All right.
talented,
Stop the
and
glaze.
if you don't put
That's
them at
enough.
number 1, then you don't know ball. So I'm
Whatever,
glad we
dude.
both
We
agree
get
that
it.
the Eagles are the best team in the NFL going into this season. And I know you're excited to watch Week 1 of Cowboys Eagles for Thursday Night
Oh.
Football, your 2 favorite
I'm
teams.
only
So
I'm only watching
yeah,
that for scouting report for week 2.
mm, you're
But
hate
yeah.
watching.
Yeah. I think if the Ravens or the Bills made the Super Bowl, it'd be a much better fight against what the Chiefs freaking did. That was disgusting. How
I
could
can
they?
agree with that. I can agree with
Because
that
now
because
the
they can
Eagles,
match the run game.
ooh, right? The freaking Chiefs. We all knew they had a bad defense. God.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, new stuff coming. We had that special announcement earlier. Next week on Wednesday is going to be our annual NFL season preview. So be on the lookout for that. Just like I said, turn the notifications on, guys, so you could see kind of everything we're uploading, and do follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It's pretty much going
Buckle
to wrap
up.
up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason. Sign off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, guys.